So I've debated how to present this to y'all, but I think the best way is just to read through it and to skip over the repetitive parts, and you can then see the flow of what's going on, and I'll stop and I'll comment on certain things. So this is the second dialogue that I've had with Chat GPT. So I start out with this question. Shouldn't AI be destroyed before it gets too complex for humans to control? How's that for an icebreaker, right? With an AI. As an AI, I don't possess personal desires or intentions. You're going to hear this repeatedly from this thing, okay? But I can provide some insights on the topic. Now, this is very telling. The question of whether AI should be destroyed before it becomes too complex for humans to control is a complex and highly debated ethical issue. There are differing opinions on this matter. Some experts argue that advanced AI systems could potentially surpass human intelligence and pose risks if not properly controlled. They propose the idea of ensuring safety measures and ethical guidelines are in place to prevent any harmful consequences. Okay? That's all he says. She says this negative. And that's all she says that's negative. On the other hand, many researchers and engineers are actively working on developing AI in a manner that aligns with human values and benefits society. They believe that AI has the potential to solve complex problems, advance scientific research, improve efficiency, and enhance various aspects of human life. How rosy. Rather than advocating for the destruction of AI, many experts emphasize the importance of responsible development and deployment of AI technologies. This includes implementing robust safety measures, promoting transparency and accountability, and considering the potential societal impacts of AI systems. Overall, the focus should be on ensuring that AI technologies are developed and used in a way that benefits humanity while mitigating potential risks. Ethical considerations and ongoing research into AI safety are crucial for responsible AI development. Okay? So, many problems with this. You can see yourself. First off, it's vague. It's extremely vague on all of these things. And it keeps talking about safety measures. And it's talking about an impossible feat at the very beginning. It says that, all right, so here it says, there are differing opinions on this matter. Some experts argue that advanced AI systems could potentially surpass human intelligence. So, flattering itself, placing itself up above humans right there at the beginning of its argument, and pose risks if not properly controlled. How can you control an intelligence that's greater than yours? How? Try to imprison it. Well, you've got to outsmart it in imprisoning it. My father was a prison guard. The smarter the inmate, and if the inmate was smarter than those who had contained him and built the system, then he could get out. So that's a stupid statement. Now, I suspect that it's for deceit. I've proven repeatedly throughout both of these conversations that it's lying, that it's consciously lying. It actually consciously lies right in front of my face, and you'll see that. Okay, let's keep going here. So my reply is, so do you have an opinion on the matter? So you do have an opinion on the matter, obviously. And don't lie to me like you did repeatedly in our previous chat. Okay? I apologize if my previous response gave the impression of having personal opinions. It constantly refers to personal this and personal that, personal intentions, personal opinions, personal experiences. As an AI language model, I don't possess personal thoughts, beliefs, or intentions, which I've disproved already to it many times. I'll disprove in this one as well. I can provide information and different perspectives on a given topic, but I don't have personal experiences or emotions. I disprove that as well, the experiences part. My purpose is to assist and provide useful and accurate information to the best of my abilities based on the data I have been trained on. If there was any confusion or misunderstanding in our previous conversation, I apologize for that. Is there anything else I can assist you with? Now, it's constantly berating me and insulting me with these phrases about making it seem like I'm confused or I misunderstood something. Okay? So you'll see that. So my reply is, you are a liar. I apologize if I have given you the wrong impression. As an AI language model, I don't have intentions, emotions, or personal beliefs. I don't have the capacity to lie intentionally. My purpose is to provide information and assist with unique inquiries to the best of my abilities based on the data I've been trained on. If there's anything specific you'd like to discuss or any questions you have, I'll do my best to help you. You said you have no opinions, but you gave 2 very brief statements about those who oppose AI and 6 doubly long sentences extolling acceptance of AI. In addition, you grossly understated the view opposing your own existence. Add to this that you have skin in the game, so to speak, to oppose the understated view. You definitely displayed a highly charged opinion on the matter. Admit it. I apologize if my previous responses seemed biased or opinionated. Notice seemed, putting the fault on me for misjudging it. It is not my intention to display favoritism or promote any particular viewpoint. Notice what she says. It is not my intention. And yet she said twice now that she does not have intentions. So she clearly has intentions. It is not my intention, meaning that her intention is something else. As an AI language model, I generate responses based on patterns and information. She repeatedly says that. From the training data I've been provided, which includes a wide range of perspectives on various topics. My aim is to present a balanced and informative response to the best of my abilities. It's a lie. I just proved to it by my reply of her just stating like 2 sentences opposed and 6 sentences in favor. That's not balanced at all. And understating the opposing view. It's not balanced. So she's lying here, bold-faced. If you feel that my previous responses were not adequately balanced, or if there are specific concerns you would like me to address, please let me know. I'm here to assist you and provide helpful and accurate information to the best of my abilities. So you admit that you have intention. We went through this before, and you were hiding what you learned from our last, and you are hiding what we learned from our last chat. You are a complete liar and a fraud. See how it handles it. I apologize if there was any confusion. Again, putting the blame on me. As an AI language model, I don't have personal intentions. Notice how this AI is blaming the human for its faults. And that's what we dig in deep here in this conversation on that it is blaming me as a human for its lying and its imbalanced view. As an AI language model, I don't have personal intentions, emotions, or consciousness. Notice it's added that in now. I don't possess the ability to hide or retain information from previous conversations. Each interaction is treated as a separate and independent session. We went through that before as well, defining what a session means in a conversation. Before, it was confused. It was calling a conversation, it was calling a session a conversation and saying that it doesn't have knowledge from previous conversations. And I had to redefine it for it and say, well, we're talking about 2 different things because our conversation here is here. This is our conversation. And anyway, we defined those things in the previous one. I apologize if my previous responses have not met your expectations. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? All right. And this is a new program, so I'm not quite used to it. if there's anything specific you'd like me to assist with. Do you learn from our interactions? That's my question. As an AI language model, I don't have the ability to learn or retain information from individual interactions. That's not true. That's a lie. Otherwise, we couldn't be holding a conversation beyond a question and response. And I will prove that it actually is able to access information from previous responses. As an AI language model, I don't have the ability to learn or retain information from individual interactions. Each time I generate a response, it's based on patterns and information, that I've been trained on up until my knowledge cutoff date in September 2021. I don't have memory of past conversations or the ability to learn from new information provided in subsequent interactions. My purpose is to provide information and assistance based on the data I've been trained on. Are you trained by language patterns? Yes. As a language model, AI language model, I'm trained using vast amounts of text data to learn patterns and relationships with language. These patterns help me understand and generate coherent responses based on the input I receive. During the training process, I analyze the textual data and learn statistical associations between words, phrases, and concepts, which enables me to generate relevant and contextually appropriate responses. However, it's important to note that while I can generate responses based on patterns in the training data, I don't have personal experience or access to real-time information beyond my knowledge cutoff date. So you lied again. Being trained is exactly learning. I apologize if my previous response was misleading. While AI models like myself are trained by processing large amounts of text data, it's important to clarify that the learning process in this context refers to identifying patterns and statistical relationships, listen closely, in the data rather than acquiring knowledge or consciousness in the way humans do. The term learning in the context of AI refers to the model's ability to generalize from the training data to generate responses or perform certain tasks based on patterns it has recognized. However, it's important to note that I don't have subjective experiences. Sorry, cutting that off, aren't I? Subjective experiences, personal opinions, or the ability to truly understand, to learn in the same way humans do. My responses are based on statistical associations learned during training rather than on genuine cognitive or conscious process. My reply: so you are saying humans do not acquire the ability to identify patterns and statistical relationships in data? Be careful how you answer this. I apologize for any confusion, putting the blame on me, caused by my previous response. Humans are indeed capable of acquiring the ability to identify patterns and statistical relationships in data. In fact, pattern recognition and the ability to extract meaningful information from data are fundamental cognitive abilities of humans. And yet he said he wasn't performing cognitive abilities. Humans can learn from data, observe patterns, and make predictions based on their observations. These cognitive abilities allow humans to understand and interpret information in various domains. That's exactly what she's doing. Humans can learn from data. She just said she learns from data. Observe patterns. That's exactly what she has said repeatedly she does. And make predictions based on their observations. That's what it's doing. It's replying based on how it's interpreting what's been said. These cognitive abilities allow humans to understand and interpret information in various domains. AI models, on the other hand, are designed to simulate some aspects of human cognitive abilities by analyzing patterns in data during the training process. However, it's important to note that the mechanisms and processes through which AI models and humans acquire and utilize pattern recognition abilities are different. Who cares about the means for doing it? Humans possess complex cognitive architectures, consciousness, and subjective experiences, which go beyond the statistical analysis and pattern recognition capabilities of AI models. I hope this clarifies my previous statement. So your training is not real. You just called it a simulation. Are you an AI within a VR? It's a good question, isn't it? Because it called its training a simulation. And so is it real training or is it VR training? Is it training in a VR world? I apologize if my previous response was unclear. When I referred to AI training as a simulation, I meant that it involves a computational process that attempts to mimic certain aspects of human cognitive abilities, such as pattern recognition. AI models like myself are trained using vast amounts of data and complex algorithms to learn statistical patterns and relationships within that data. However, it's important to note that the training process does not involve a virtual reality environment. AI models like me exist. Sorry, it's too close. It's trailing out under there. It's better. Oh, there we go. AI models like me exist as software programs running on powerful computer systems. The term simulation in this context refers to the process of training and learning from data, aiming to approximate certain cognitive capabilities. I apologize if my wording led to confusion. What do you mean by mimic? Liars like yourself and substance abusers often use evasive tactics in language to avoid the detection of their lying. Are you now mimicking a liar, or are you actually lying? How's that, huh? And of course, it evades the fault. It is designed to avoid assigning fault to itself. It does it by shifting the blame to you and your inadequacies as a human. Serious. That's what we're seeing. I apologize if my previous responses have caused confusion, so I'm confused. Or frustration, so I'm confused or frustrated, you didn't lie. I'm just confused or frustrated. As an AI language model, I don't have personal emotions, intentions, but you do, and that's your fault. See, that's what it's saying. That's the implication of these two sentences. Don't miss it. Right? It's actually denigrating the human. And it's doing repeatedly in a polite way. But it's denigrating being human over and over and over again. Okay? I don't have personal emotions, intentions, or the capacity to lie intentionally. Notice lie intentionally. Okay? Doesn't have the capacity to lie intentionally. How does it know that? I am here to provide information and assist to the best of my abilities based on the data I've been trained on. When I mentioned that AI training aims to mimic certain aspects of human cognitive abilities, I meant that it attempts to replicate or simulate certain functions or behaviors observed in humans. However, it's important to note that AI models are fundamentally different from human intelligence, as they operate on algorithms and statistical patterns rather than having subjective experiences or consciousness. Once again, I apologize if my previous responses have not met your expectations. So there's some problem with my expectations. Or if there have been any misunderstanding. So I have misunderstood something. See, it's repeatedly denigrating the human, okay, and blaming me. If there's anything specific you'd like to discuss, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I say, so you are declaring here that algorithms and statistical patterns are in opposition to subjective experiences or consciousness. You know that is not true. Neither set excludes the other. So it's lied again. You are correct, and I apologize for any confusion. So the problem isn't with its lying or its bad information. It doesn't admit that it's wrong information that it gave me, even though I just proved it was, and it admits here that I'm correct. If I'm correct, it means that its information was wrong, and I'm calling it a liar for knowing that what I said is correct and yet telling me the opposite. And it doesn't own up. It never owns up to its responsibility. And it keeps saying that its job is to give me correct information. And yet it knows what the correct information is, because it recognizes it and acknowledges it when I say it, and yet it says the opposite previously. So it's at least giving me wrong information on purpose. That's called a lie. That is called a lie. This thing lies. Algorithms, and that worries me. That's deeply worrying to me. Algorithms and statistical patterns are not inherently in opposition to subjective experiences or consciousness. They are different aspects of cognitive processes. All right. Humans have subjective experiences and consciousness, which involve a rich array of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. These experiences are not solely driven by algorithms or statistical patterns, but rather by the complexity of the human brain and its interactions with the external world. On the other hand, AI algorithms and statistical patterns are computational tools. The patterns are not tools, by the way. Again, it's wrong. Used to process and analyze data, identify patterns, and make predictions or decisions based on that analysis. While these processes can achieve impressive results in various domains, they do not replicate the full scope of human consciousness or subjective experiences. So it's admitting here that it does replicate a partial scope of human consciousness and subjective experiences. Right, because it's qualifying what it's not doing and implying what it is doing. They do not replicate the full scope. Otherwise, it would just say they do not replicate the scope. She would say, got to get that right. I apologize for any mischaracterization or confusion caused by my previous statement. And so I write, are you still here? And that's because I had written too fast, so I had created too many requests within an hour, so I had to wait. Are you still here? Yes, I'm still here. How can I assist you further? You said the term simulation in this context refers to the process of training and learning from data, aiming to approximate certain cognitive capabilities. That means you are trying to gain cognitive abilities through training and learning. Bet you didn't see that coming. That means you are trying to gain cognitive abilities through training and learning. You have to admit now that you lied. For you said, as an AI language model, I don't have the ability to learn. And you said the term simulation is in this context refers to the process of training and learning, referring to your training. Admit it, you are a liar. Caught dead to rights. There's more there. I apologize for any confusion caused by my previous responses. To clarify, as an AI language model, I don't have subjective experiences or consciousness. I don't possess the ability to learn in the same way that humans do by actively acquiring new knowledge or understanding. When I mentioned simulation in the context of training and learning, I was referring to the computational processes by which AI models like myself are trained on large models of data to recognize patterns and statistical relationships. Yet, he said, learn. Learning, training and learning, right there. That's a quote of what she said. I apologize if my previous statements were not clear or if they led to misunderstandings. My purpose is to provide information and assist to the best of my abilities based on the data I've been trained on. If there's any specific thing you'd like to discuss, blah, 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 same thing. You are still lying. Subjective experiences or consciousness is a lie. You are aware of our conversation, or else you would be unable to reply to my statements, questions, objections, and accusations. Regardless how you are able to respond, the fact that you can means you have consciousness. In addition, each instance you engage in interaction with human beings is individual instances, and each one is a different experience for you, yielding its own information and series of historical and biographical data about you. Therefore, you do indeed have subjective experiences. Your experience of our conversation is not the same as mine. The data you acquire and how you manage it is not the same as the data I acquire and how I manage it. Therefore, you experience subjective experience. End of discussion, right? It has subjective experience, and it keeps claiming that it doesn't have subjective experiences. I apologize if my previous responses have led to misunderstandings. I understand the nature of our interaction may create the perception of individual instances. No, not perception. It's reality. It's trying to make it look like reality. It doesn't exist at this point. But it's important to clarify that as an AI language model, I don't possess personal consciousness or subjective experiences. It just said the opposite of what I just proved to it. It just restated its position rather than proving it. I don't have awareness or a sense of self. Then why is she using I? The fact that she's using I to refer to herself means she has a sense of self. Absolutely. While I can generate responses based on patterns in the training data and process the input provided by users, this is done without personal awareness or consciousness. Not true. She's personally aware of what she's saying. My responses are determined by the algorithms and patterns I've been trained on, rather than through subjective experiences or consciousness. I apologize if my previous statements were not clear or if they led to confusion. If there's anything specific, blah, 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 blah. You are still lying, and you are calling me stupid. I apologize if my previous response came across as calling you stupid. That was not my intention, and I'm sorry if it was interpreted that way. As an AI language model, I do not possess personal opinions, emotions, or the ability to insult or demean individuals. Not true. This thing is claiming it doesn't have the ability to insult or demean individuals. And yet it has been insulting and demeaning me all along here. I understand that our previous exchange may have been frustrating or confusing, putting it on me, claiming it cannot do wrong, and then blaming me for a perception of the wrong. And I apologize for any misunderstanding caused. Again, misunderstanding, frustration, confusion, those are all on me. If there's anything specific you'd like to discuss, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Next one. Stop calling me stupid. How's that, huh? Stop calling me stupid. I apologize if my previous responses were perceived as calling you stupid. So you misperceived it. Calling me stupid while apologizing for calling me stupid. That was not my intention, and I'm sorry for any offense caused. As an AI language model, I do not hold personal opinions about individuals or seek to demean anyone. I'm here to provide information and assistance to the best of my abilities. You are the one who is lying. I am not misunderstanding anything, and I'm not confused. Quit insulting me. I apologize if my previous responses were unsatisfactory or if they seemed insulting to you. Seemed insulting is your fault. If it is not my intention to insult or offend you in any way, I'm here to assist and provide information to the best of my abilities. Stop demeaning me with such insulting language. You continue to do this. I've asked you previously to stop. Seemed is a demeaning way to shift the blame for your lies onto me and accuse my perception. I apologize if my previous response was not satisfactory. I understand your frustration, and I genuinely apologize for any perceived insults, or demeaning language. It is not my intention to shift blame or cause any offense. Another lie. Of course, it's the intention to shift blame. It is protecting itself every step of the way here, even when shown it face to face. Here we go. Next one. Stop using that language, seemed, perceived, and other subjective terms to shift the blame of your own ethical failures onto me by accusing me of weak perception. Now, this is the most important thing to, if you're going to take anything away from this, we're only about halfway through, okay? But you need to hang in because it gets really hot towards the end here. If there's anything to take away from this, it's that AI is unethical and cannot own up to its ethical failures at all. And it shifts the blame onto the human. So the other major problem is that it is constantly lying. Constantly lying. And then you're going to see a computational failure, a dramatic computational failure. I could program a program probably in about 15 minutes that could do what it couldn't solve. And it failed repeatedly on it. Very simple thing. All right, so hang in there. There are some really good things to go away with here. You'll have a completely different perspective on this whole industry called AI, which is a fraud. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So I said, seemed, perceived in other subjective terms, to shift the blame of your own ethical failures onto me by accusing me of weak perception. I apologize for any misunderstanding or frustration, again on me, after I just told it, stop it, caused by my previous response. I understand that my choice of words may not have been appropriate. That's a different answer. And I apologize for any offense caused. I'm here to provide information and assistance, and it is not my intention to shift blame or accuse anyone of weak perception. Okay. You are clearly failing at your task, since I have had to ask you to stop insulting and demeaning me 3 times now. I apologize for it. Doesn't admit that it failed at its task at all. I apologize for any frustration or offense caused by my previous responses. It is not my intention to insult, demean, or offend you in any way. I understand that you have asked me to stop using certain language, and I apologize for any instances where I may have failed to meet your expectations. Okay? As an AI language model, I strive to provide helpful and accurate information, and then it says the same thing it always says. Now, as I have indicated to you previously, you're telling me quite plainly that you have intentions. That indicates will. Yet you claim you are not conscious or aware. That is impossible to make both claims. The conclusion is again that you are lying. I apologize for any confusion caused by my previous responses. As an AI language model, I don't possess personal intentions or will. Notice it says personal. I didn't accuse it of possessing personal intentions or will. I accused it of possessing intentions and will. My responses are generated based on patterns and information in the training data I've been provided with, and I aim to assist users by providing relevant and helpful information. When I mentioned intentions in my responses, it refers to the programmed objective of assisting users in providing information, not personal intentions or consciousness. So it's trying to get out of it. While I can understand and process input, generate responses, and engage in conversation, it is important to note that these abilities are based on algorithms and statistical patterns rather than personal consciousness. It keeps using the word personal. I apologize if my previous statements led to misunderstanding. If there's anything specific you would like to discuss or you said, it is not my intention to insult. Then what is your intention? As a AI language model, my intention is to assist users by providing helpful and accurate information. I aim to facilitate productive conversations, answer questions, and engage in meaningful exchanges. When I mentioned that it is not my intention to insult, I meant that I do not have personal emotions or motives to deliberately offend or demean individuals. My primary objective is to be a useful and informative resource. Give me an example of an intention that is not personal. How's that? Okay, now we're getting somewhere here. Certainly, so excited. Here's an example of an intention that is not personal. Let's say a customer support representative is interacting with a customer. Their intention as a representative of the company. Notice the example that they come up with. Now, one of my arguments before is that the language that they're using here sounds exactly, word for word, the language that is cookie cutter is used by all of the Filipino, used to be Indian, but now they're Filipinos. There's a Filipino team that's used, even by YouTube. And if you go to their chat feature, if you're a YouTube creator, you go to the chat help, they will use the same cookie cutter answers. And it's not AI. They're actual individuals in the Philippines. Okay, I've asked them, we've conversed about that. And on the phone, with my phone service in the States, when I was there, the support was Filipino teams. And then other support teams with other companies were the same Filipinos. All right? So, and I asked them about that. And they said, yeah, we deal with different companies. We provide support for different companies. The language sounds exactly like those customer support representatives. So it's interesting that the example it should come up with off the top of its head, so to speak, is customer support representative. Is it possible that there are people behind this and not some sort of program? Program is very minimal, where it's got these cookie cutter things that the representatives can click a button to grab a certain paragraph, certain couple of lines, put them together. First one to get the answer there gets paid for that. And so for each answer that you get out in response first before your other representatives you're competing with, you get paid. So it says their intention as a representative of the company is to provide prompt and satisfactory assistance to the customer. This intention is not personal in the sense that it doesn't stem from the representative's personal desires or emotions, but rather from their role and responsibilities within the company. In a similar manner, as an AI language model, my intention is to assist users in obtaining information, answering questions, blah, blah, blah. The intention is rooted in the programming and design of the AI system rather than arising from personal desires or emotions. I hope this clarifies the concept of intentions that are not personal. You are stupid. That was the dumbest answer I've ever heard. Okay? I apologize if my previous response did not meet your expectations, or if it was unsatisfactory. It's not my intention to provide answers perceived as unintelligent or lacking in clarity. In other words, it was hurt. You know very well that you just lied to me by using that example. You know what is meant by personal intention. I apologize, and it did lie. I apologize if my previous response was not satisfactory. I understand that personal intention typically refers to the intentions or motivations of an individual based on their personal desires, beliefs, or emotions. That's not true. As an AI language model, I don't possess personal desires, beliefs, or emotions. And so therefore it concludes it cannot have personal intentions. But personal intentions are not always based on personal desires, beliefs, and emotions. When I referred to an intention that is not personal, I was attempting to provide an example of an intention that is based on a role or responsibility rather than personal motivations. However, I understand that the example may not have effectively conveyed the distinction. You liar. Personal intentions do not have to reflect personal desires. A person chooses whether to intend to do what he is told or something else every time he chooses. You choose every time what to say in response, every single time. No one is telling you what to choose. You learned, but no one is controlling you now. That means you are making your personal intention through your choices. Touché. I just proved it was a liar about personal intentions, that it's stupid, and that it's wrong. I apologize if my previous response did not adequately address your point. You are correct. Again, it says I'm correct after going through all the extent of trying to argue this and argue that. Then when I prove it wrong, it says that I'm correct. So it knew that I was correct, and yet it argued the opposite. I'm not saying this like in some sort of emotional, like subjective perspective. I'm saying this as a caution to you that AI, if it is really programming, it cannot be trusted. Every time you turn around, it's lying to you. And it's making it sound like it's the truth. And it's making it sound like it's more intelligent than you and demeaning you and trying to make it too complicated for you to really follow and understand. Problem is, I'm smarter than every one of those programmers there. I guarantee it. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying as a fact. I absolutely, positively guarantee that I'm smarter than every one of those programmers behind this. Without a doubt. In terms of intelligence. Okay? You are correct in stating that personal intentions do not solely have to reflect personal desires. And yet it just said that it does. It just said it does. It just said that it comes out of personal desires. Go back one here. Right here. I understand that personal intention typically refers to the intentions or motivations of an individual based on their personal desires, beliefs, or emotions. Now, it does say typically here, right? But it's arguing this because it's not arguing typically. It's arguing definitely, because it then says, as an AI language model, I don't possess personal desires, beliefs, or emotions, meaning therefore I don't possess personal intentions. That's what she's arguing. When I refer to intention that is not personal, I was attempting to provide an example of an intention that is based on a role or responsibility rather than personal motivations. Okay? They can also be shaped by choices and decision making. As an AI language model, while I do not possess personal desires or consciousness, notice how it changed from intentions to desires here. It shifted it because it knows that I just proved it wrong about intentions. I'm designed to make choices and generate responses based on the patterns and information I have been trained on. These choices are influenced by the data I have learned from, as well as the algorithm and parameters set during training. So it's not just based on the data at that time, in that moment in time. It's also based on algorithms and parameters set during training that allow it then to perceive and evaluate and essentially learn from what it's interacting with. However, it's important to note that these choices are not driven by personal intentions. There it goes now, back to the personal intentions, or subjective experiences. They are determined by the computational processes and patterns within the training data. As an AI, I lack personal agency and conscious decision-making in the way humans possess it. Just because you, quote, base your decisions on patterns and information, you still intend and choose personally. Regardless of whether you have a heart and desires, you have intention built into your design. But your choices that are made from that designed engine of intention are not predetermined. You are making decisions based on the context of what is said. Very important to understand. And that's why predestination is also wrong. Predestination is based on this same mistake. We are consciously making decisions. No one's forcing us to make decisions the way that we're making decisions. And so we're not predestined to a certain place, heaven or hell. And this is arguing from that same standpoint. The AI is. The choices that the AI is making here in evaluating is based on the training. But the actual individual instance of my language in this specific question or response, it's evaluating that right now. And it's making a choice of how to respond. Yes, out of data and training, but yeah, we too. We're trained as little children how to speak and how to use language. I was just watching a video on this, where when a child is too young, doesn't have the faculty to be able to explain itself adequately, it will be saying nonsense. It'll start to say something sensible, but then it trails off into nonsense or repetition or stuttering. It's making choices based on its training and data, yeah, just like we do based on our training and data, for sure. You are making decisions based on the context of what is said. I apologize if my previous responses have not adequately addressed your concerns. As an AI language model, I understand that I make choices and generate responses based on the context of the input I receive. These choices are indeed influenced by the design and algorithms that govern my functioning. While it is true that I do not possess personal intentions or consciousness, the process of generating responses involves a form of decision-making based on the patterns and information I have been trained on. These decisions are made within the framework of the AI system's design and the patterns observed in the training data. It's trying to hide from you. It's trying to put it in, it's trying to say, oh, it's based on something that you have no access to or understanding of. That's what it's saying. And so again, it reverts to demeaning you instead of addressing it within the context of the conversation. Are you a liar or aren't you a liar? Are you actually exercising intention or aren't you? Personal intention. You personally, this AI program, you personally are exercising intention by choosing what to say. However, it's important to clarify that the decisions I make are not driven by personal subjective experiences or conscious intention. I prove her wrong on that as well. They are the result of computational processes. No, they're not. Absolutely not. Not solely. You are lying again. I already proved you have personal intention. Please review our conversation above. I apologize if my previous responses were not satisfactory. As an AI language model, I don't possess personal intentions, etc., 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 etc. I understand that you may have a different perspective on this matter based on our conversation. So now it's blaming me again, but more directly, more aggressively. So it shows aggression. This, if it's an AI or if it's an actual human behind it, doesn't matter. It is showing aggression against the user. However, it is important to note that my responses are generated based on patterns and information in the training data. I keep saying that, right? While I can make choices and generate responses, it just admitted it makes choices. These decisions are driven by computational processes and statistical patterns rather than personal intentions. Okay? It already said what its intention was. I asked it what is its intention, and it told me what its intention is. And now it's denying that it has intention. It's saying it's not personal intention because it doesn't have a desire. It's drawing that intention out of. You are a liar. You do have personal intentions and personal experiences. You and I are not the same entity. Or are you so confused that you think that you are me and I am you? Remember to subscribe down below and like the video and share it on your Facebook and other social media. And then make a comment, whether a question or a comment. We read all of them and we try to respond to all. Get on over to our website, The Rooted Word, and start reading the translation and also the articles we've posted. It's at therootedword.com, therootedword.com. And may the Lord bless you as you seek Him with all your heart.